much for joining. We'll get started in just a moment. There's still others that are entering. So yeah, we probably have a decent agenda today. So we're going to get started. Let me share my screen. So a couple of announcements, and I'm sure you all have heard this if you attended the roundups and things like that, but I just want to continue to reiterate that there is a trophy that is at the bottom right of the newsletter. That's the opportunity to highlight your documentation, your headlight documentation pros. So we want to ensure that we're acknowledging those individuals that are doing an amazing job, capturing observations, providing the detail that we're looking for and things of that nature. So please, please, please take the time to highlight some of those documentation pros. All right, just have someone else joining. Also, one other quick mention, the latest version of the materials app, this is something else that I talked about, at the roundups and things of that nature, but just always make sure that you have the latest version of the apps so you don't miss out on any features and their functionality. The latest version of the materials app is 1.8.11. So again, just always make sure that you're checking periodically if you haven't received a notification to ensure that you have the latest version of any of our apps that you are leveraging in the field. All right. A quick update from us, another quick update. Reports have been being stuck in the pending status for some affected users that has been addressed. So there were duplicate tests that were being created when sample test records were imported from Site Manager to HeadLight. Those things have been rectified, but if you run into any continual issues, please reach out, let us know, but those things should have been rectified by now. Just wanted to send another quick reminder about that. Today, for my part, we're going to spend time talking about fast capture updates. So if a crash takes place with fast capture, and I know you all have heard this countless times, again, if you were at the roundups, but fast capture is the iPhone mobile app. And so we're going to talk about some new features and functionality that has been released for the fast capture app. If a crash takes place with fast capture, the user data and logs will now be automatically uploaded. So that crash log will come to HeadLight automatically for us to review for troubleshooting and things of that nature. So that's not something that you would have to send manually. Um, Another quick thing, offline indication messages are now more specific to different use cases for offline versus online. Now, sorry, there was someone else in the waiting room. All right. Okay, now back to fast capture. So logs are saved when the application goes to the background and is now saved for about 6 months. So again, this is if a crash happens, the data log is automatically being sent to us. We'll have those records for approximately 6 months on the back end to be able to review, troubleshoot, and things of that nature. Offline indication messages are now more specific to different use cases for how you're actually offline, right? One other quick thing that I wanted to mention in relation to fast capture is if the user doesn't have any connectivity or if it says a user session has expired, all data is currently only being saved locally on the app. So they're going to be different, and we'll go through this. There'll be different notifications that you'll see to let you know what's actually happening if there's a need for us to troubleshoot or just so you're aware of what's actually happening since the updates are more clear for what status you may be in with the Fast Capture app. All right, so prior to when a user would first log in, all projects were, so former day, when a user first logged into Fast Capture, all projects were loaded that you had access to. And sometimes that was happening concurrently. And then the app would wait until all of them were done loading before allowing you to interact with the Fast Capture app. Now, present day, when you log in and it says that fetching projects, this summary, when you see this message, this is telling you that it's going to default to the project that you've most recently used. So you don't have to wait to interact. If you have access to multiple projects, they're taking time to download all of the data and things of that nature. Now it's going to automatically default to your most recent project. All right. Next, on the user profile page, which is here, there is now a done button that is option that is at the top right. So this is for you to get back to the project page. So you can select done here versus having to force close the app, reload it, and start all over again. Now you can select done to get back to your project selection page. All right. Also, there's no longer a delay when selecting and uploading multiple photos from your device's photo library. So there was a delay when you would select multiple items from the library. Now that has been taken care of. So you should no longer have a delay when you're selecting multiple images. You'll see the upload status view has been updated as well, and the message will be different based on the state of the app. So these messages will include, hey, green thumbs up, all observations have been sent when we're referring to your summary for the day for observations. We also have another message that may show, okay, no connectivity detected. If there is no connection, okay. If there is no connection, if there's no connection or if you're offline and if offline has been selected for wireless health, then you'll be able to see, okay, no connectivity detected. So just much clearer statuses on what's actually happening with the app now going forward. Also, we have the offline login option. So if a user has logged in offline, a summary will be provided and give the user a sign in option to proceed. So basically what you see here. So if you're if you're offline and attempting to log in, we can see that, okay, there is a summary of what's been uploaded today, but here's the sign in option now also. So you can actually be online versus being offline as well. So again, just more clear statuses on what's actually happening with the Fast Capture app going forward. Next, we have the option if your session has expired. So if your current user session expires, then you'll have the option to still see the summary of what's been uploaded today and then to sign back in. And it tells you your session has expired. All data is currently only being saved locally. Tap to log in. So again, very clear instructions on what's happening with your statuses. Next, upload status. So if there have been any errors during upload, you can try resending the observations here. So in this snapshot, it shows you how many have been uploaded for the day, how many are still pending. They are not uploaded just yet. And you can resend those observations. It's telling you upload was unsuccessful. Tap to try to send your pending observations again, and or you can send error logs as well, and that'll come straight to the HeadLight team. And next, pending status. So this will show up if an observation could not be uploaded. So if you click on pending, you'll see the observations that are actually pending. So for example, here, if we were to select the actual word pending and go to view those two that's telling us in red are still pending, then it's now going to take us to the pending screen that'll show, hey, there are two observations that are still pending. And then you'll get the details of what those observations are and can get those sent out. All right. Another quick update, photos have now been updated to be called images to be consistent with how Fieldbook is set up. So here, they've now been updated to be called images. All right. There also was a toolbar glitch that has been fixed. So if you are leveraging the Fast Capture app, and find any issues, please let us know. But there was a toolbar issue that has now been fixed. And this is also another example of if there are any upload errors, and if we go to that pending status, it'll actually tell us this is a detail. So from here, we see that there are 2 pending. Then we go to those pending items. And then when we actually click into one of those pending items, is giving us the details of the upload error. And for example, on this example, testing sync observation upload failed. So a lot more insight into what's actually happening if there is an error or an issue syncing, and much more visibility into online, offline statuses and things of that nature. I know I just went through a good bit. Any questions about the new fast capture updates? Hopefully, post roundup, most of you have downloaded the app and or have been using it, or your users have been using it in the field to get more comfortable with fast capture and being able to check out the features and functionality there. All right. Well, that was it for me so far. I'm going to hand it over to you, Les.
Thanks, Tanisha.
Thank you.
All right. So I have a couple of things that I can talk about today. Do you guys want to do the Q&A first, or should I go into it and then we'll do the QA after? Anybody have a preference? Nobody cares? All right. I'll do my I'll go through a couple things that I have first then. See if I can find my screen to share. Y'all hear me? It kind of was locked up for a minute there.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So first off, I had Brandon Usey down in District 2 called me last week and was having an issue. They wanted to do an E&O for something, or maybe it was just not specifically what he called about, but he's had this issue before and was wondering how we would do an E&O for something that doesn't have a material code. So there are times on a project when you are putting together an ATM and you realize you didn't get something, but it's not necessarily a material. And what I'm talking about there is maybe like the contractor never provided the construction layout books or something along those lines. That's something that you need a document that wasn't turned in, right? But it doesn't have a material code. Well, when you're using, in the past, if you were just making a Word document or something, listing your E&Os, no problem, you could just type that in there, right? But when we're using HeadLight SamplePlan to document our E&Os, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll just go to something here. So let's just choose plastic soil blanket here. And so if I wanted to, if we had an inspector that did not sample this or something happened along those lines and we needed to document an E&O error and omission for this, you would just select this in the SamplePlan software and type in your remark here, and then that would show up on your 2059, right, on your ATM. So this is the kind of the new way. If you're documenting projects in HeadLight and you are trying to do the digital process and turn in the HeadLight ATM, this is how you would enter your E&O. So, but what happens if you have a situation like the layout book, right? And so I wanted to show you, I did come up with something, and I think this will work for what we do. So construction layout here. Actually, I was actually going to search this. Let me delete it so I can go and search and we can show you what it is. So let's say I wanted to put an E&O here for construction layout, and there's not really a material code associated to that, but I did find one. If you start typing 8s in here, this is kind of a generic material code. This plans and contract specified material. It's 8888M 88888. So it might be kind of hard to remember, but hopefully you can refer back to this if you need to. But if you select that kind of generalized material there, then that gives you the ability to go in here and you can add a testing requirement, so maybe an information only, not acceptance. And obviously we're not going to sample anything for this, so you don't have to worry about conversion factor. I guess if you wanted to, probably the proper thing to do here would just put this as one per project, right? 999,999, and then go ahead and enter your remark. Let's see. I think I actually got one here I can put in there. You know, you could just go ahead and drop your remark in there. And now that's going to show up on the 2059. So anything that doesn't have a specific material code, and it's not necessarily just construction layout. There are other items where we don't have those material codes. So you would just use this standard, you know, and under whatever line item you needed to put it under to show a general, you know, E&O. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. Okay. All right. So that was it for that one. I'm actually trying something new today. You guys can give me some feedback on it. I found a way to make my mouse bigger and a different color, so maybe it's easier for you to follow along. Can you guys see the big yellow mouse there or green mouse there? Is that better for you to see? I kind of found that I was having a hard time tracking my mouse with these big monitors in here, so I switched over. Um, anyway, so during the construction roundup meetings, we had a question from somebody, and I don't remember exactly what the question was, but I remember the answer that we gave was that you can create custom reports in HeadLight to share with others as needed. And so I think what happens is get a project, and you know there comes a claim on a project or something, you know, the PE and the contractor are not able to come to an agreement on the way something should be paid or built or something along those lines, and it ends up probably going to be a claim. So one of the first things that you get from our section is like, hey, I need you to, you know, give me a timeline of what happened, how it happened. I noticed if you're a PE on here, you've probably had to do this in the past. Kind of have to put together a summary of what what went on, at least from your point of view on the project, right? Or you know, sometimes the contractor, when you're trying to explain something to them that they're doing that you need them to adjust. I'll take traffic control, for example, might be a good one that you have to say, look, here's the documentation we're collecting. This does not meet specs, and we need you to adjust your process to meet the specs, right? So sometimes you have to share a custom report. And you know what, we're waiting on some of the dashboards and stuff from HeadLight that we're able to collect the data from, but I wanted to show you a quick way that's available now to put these custom reports together that'll probably save you some time. And so I'm going to start with, let's see what project I'm in. So in the test project, let's just say you had somebody from I don't know, maybe public relations at DOTD, or um, somebody else that said, hey, we need, you know, there were a lot of accidents on the project. You say you've been doing the project for a few years, right? You've had several accidents out there, and we need you to put a report together of everything that's happened on there because we're involved in, you know, multiple lawsuits. So if you've documented it correctly in HeadLight by using tags or you know, any kind of label that would help you get to the information fast, it becomes super easy. And I'll show you. So in the search bar, if I were just to go under the labels section and start typing accident, right? So we have the accident number 10 that would go to site manager. So we'll do that one. And then we're also going to grab the regular tag accident. And you can see pretty, oh, what happened here? Let me go back to accident. I don't know why it's only filtering two. Oh, maybe it's because it's doing that. That's what it is. It's matching all my selected labels. Sorry about that. So you see we have 15 total observations in the project where people documented something about an accident that happened. You see we got a couple of images here, right? And this is obviously the test project, and there's a lot of just random narratives in here that were tagged with the accidents tag so that they would sync to site manager. But super easy, you could just go into reports. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a step. Let me go back. So you could easily go here and do select all. So that would select all 15 observations that you have narrowed it down to. And you can see that by, there's a little checkbox that shows up here. And then you could go down here, bottom right, create document, and it's going to bring you to create a report off of this. Now, obviously we want to rename this, right? So we'll rename this one accident report and hit create. And you can see that it put these 15 observations into a report. And so when you just go look, let me dismiss it. So when you go just look at this in the reports queue, like you might have a lot of regular LADOTD. I mean, this is the test project, so this looks a little different, but usually you would just have a bunch of LADOTD HDR reports in here that would probably say approved. And it'd be pretty easy to find that accident report. I'm gonna click back on it. And so super easy to send this to somebody. One, while you've selected it, you could just grab this link and send that link to them if they have access to the project, right? So even a contractor, somebody within DOTD that has access to this, super easy to send it to them that way. Or obviously you could just download this as a PDF and have a nice report to send to somebody. This might take a second to download it here. Right. And so this has all of your narratives that were created on the job. It even gives you a timeline of when things happen, right? On 1/9 at 4:27 p.m., this kind of stuff. So it's much easier than you having to sit there and go through stacks of DWRs to put together a report and type this stuff out. It even, puts your images in there. Let's close that. Um, like I said, it does depend on how well things were tagged. And one thing that I have found out is once you have, so it would be nice if we could go in and after the fact tag stuff, but once observations have been included in a report, right? Once they have the little locked symbol on it, you cannot go back and add a tag later. So that's something to keep in mind. So getting your inspectors to add proper tags during the job before the report is approved is actually the best way to do it. So you should be making sure that that's done. But let's say that you have these in here and you go, oh, wait, I should probably include a weather. Like what was happening. Let's just take this first example here, right? So it looks like it might have been kind of rainy that day. So let's go back and search. So one thing you can do is display all observations. Am I still okay? Yep. And then let's go search that day. So that was January 1. So there's 2 observations in this day. And so here's a weather for that night. So all I have to do is click that and add it to a report. And it updated that report. And so now you can see it had 15 and now it has 16 observations in it. So super easy to go add the weather and then just, download the PDF again and it'll be there. So that's if you miss something when you're trying to select, that's an easy way to go add it. So I think that it would work the same way no matter which way you did it. Like if you say it was a claim, right? So let's just say, let's go back to journal. You can just go through, let me clear the filters. So let's say you didn't tag something, your inspectors were not tagging the observations correctly. You could go through here and just say you needed to send the contractor several images, right, of what was going on with their traffic control over the past month, right? So you could filter this to images, and then you could even filter dates. So let's say you wanted to send them things from October. So we'll, go from October 1 to October 31st here. Of course, there are no images during those days. Let me pick another month. Let me go back. Let's just say it was a few months. All right, and so now it's 3. So that's pretty easy to do that. I actually probably need to go back farther than that to prove the point here. Let's go back to January. So let's just say 10 months out of the year. But you knew this is what was happening that you need to send to the contractor. So you could just scroll through and go, no, not those. Okay, I need to send them this one. And you can kind of manually select. I mean, I know I said traffic control, but obviously this is a test project and I'm just selecting different ones. So we're just going to pretend these were related to their traffic control issues. Okay, so okay, that's the four I want to send the contractor. Then super easy, you're right back into, just creating your report the same way, right? So there's the manual selection, but it's a little easier, especially if you have a project that's say 3 years long, right? To have it tagged correctly. So you just search the tag and include everything into a report rather than going through each observation. And then even, especially if it was a claim or something along those lines, you might have to go in and select work items and all of that stuff to kind of put a report together. Um, anyway, that's the main gist of what I wanted to show you there. So you can create custom reports. It doesn't have like, I'll just go to a regular project. Let me see if I can think of one. No, not that one. Anybody got a project number? I'm trying to think of one that's going on right now. Let me just go to my old project. So in the reports tab, I'll show you what you're normally going to see. Actually, this looks a little different. I don't know what's going on here. It looks like we're showing forms in the report tab. Not sure what's going on. I mean, this is a test project. That's why. Sorry about that. Yeah, so you got a couple site manager diaries there, and then you have all your approved. These are your regular DWRs, right? And so when you have regular DWRs like that, it's pretty easy to kind of go in and find a report. Actually, I did not think about this, but I did this the other day myself. We had So this old project, the mayor went to my old office from Clinton where the project was and was like, "Hey, I thought you guys were going to install some lights on the project. It's very dark when I arrived." And this was, as you can see, this was 7 years ago. But the mayor called at my old office and was like, "Hey, I thought y'all were installing lights on that project. It's very dark when you ride through there. I don't see any lights." And so they contacted me and said, "Hey, do you know about this? Did we install lights?" And I'm talking about within 10 minutes, sent them a report of, I went through and selected everything that had, I think the 0060 line item, and sent them a report. I was like, "Yeah, we installed lights and here's the, spreadsheet observations, work item." There were 5 observations where we paid. And so I said, "Yeah, we installed, several of those." I don't know. I think I added it up. It was probably no, there were 5. So, and then we sent this report to the Clinton mayor, right? Downloaded it as a PDF and sent it to him super fast to go back 7 years ago and create a quick report. I actually kind of forgot about that. I'm glad I came across that while we're on the call here. Anyway, any questions about that? How to create a report? Anybody using that so far? Kevin, have you had to do that before?
A couple of times just for like informational purposes,
Yeah.
just for our
And
office.
yeah, and that's where it's going to be most helpful. You don't get that question all the time, but just sending something within your group, right? If you wanted to highlight something for training for your office, right? Hey, look at these 6 observations from these. It could be different people, right? This is what we're expecting you to do on these jobs. Super simple to put that together.
Where it's
All
going
right,
to be definitely useful is for force account.
100%. Yes. Yeah. If you have a force account job, that is going to be very handy to use. Good call out there. So that wraps up my demos, but we're going to open the floor now for Q&A session. So if anybody's got questions, anything that needs to be discussed on the call, we're ready to take those questions. I'm assuming that we answered everybody's questions with these construction roundup meetings we did. Maybe we won't have any on here.
I think everybody was getting tired of my questions that day.
No, nobody gets tired of them. We like it. Gives us something to talk about. right, well, there are no questions. I think we're gonna have an early day today. Tranisha, do you have anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. Same.
Everybody, look, if you did not get a chance to look at the newsletter, at least go look at it and go towards the end. I put together a little highlight video of the construction roundup meetings. It was just a fun little video to show us going across the state doing those. It was a busy, little over a month, but it was very worth it. Felt like we made some good progress. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate y'all joining, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.